let's move on to the NCAA football. And, Rob, we know everything is in flux right now. Conferences, the Pac-12 is decimated. And the Big Ten, how many teams the Big Ten have in it now?
40.
18, 60. It's ridiculous. Can we change the name?
Could it be the Big 40? Is that what you want?
Right. Like, Big Ten? Really? My goodness. It hadn't been 10 in years. But anyway, Chip Kelly, the coach at UCLA.
And the Big 12 has 16 teams. Very nice.
Yeah. He has a thought on what they should do with big-time college football. Here's Chip Kelly.
Notre Dame is an independent in football, but they're in a conference for everything else. Why aren't we all independent for football? And take the 64 teams in Power 5, make that one division. Take the 64 teams in Group of 5, make that another division. We play for a championship. They play for a championship. No one else gets affected. Our sport's different than everybody else. We only play once a week. Travel's not a big deal for football, but it is a big deal for other sports.
Because there's things called tradition and all kinds of other stuff that Chip Kelly doesn't apparently care about. He just wants to, let's blur everything, throw everybody into a bowl, and who cares? The stripping of college football, and Chris, I grew up in New York. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm the biggest
college
football town,
yeah.
okay? We're a pro sports town, okay? We didn't have a college football. I did cover college football early in my career. I used to cover Army games, Chris. I covered Rutgers. I covered college football early on in my career when I was a general assignment reporter for the Daily News. But and then obviously I worked in Detroit a long time, and Michigan State, and Michigan, was a big part of that experience in Michigan. And I just let's just destroy. What's the best way we can make the most money and not care about anything? Let's just do that. So it just seems like nobody cares about holding on to some things. It's all about money. The college football was broken, Chris?
Yeah, it was broke. They were taking advantage of the students.
Well, other than that,
that's huge.
I'm not. No, not that part.
How was the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Not that play. Not that part. I'm talking about the actual college football and the games and who won and things like that. People still pack the stadiums. People still
and they'll
win.
Still pack the stadiums.
But I'm just we're just destroying everything.
But here's the thing. I
disagree with Chip Kelly. I do.
Yeah, I disagree.
Worry
I think
about winning football games, Chip Kelly. We don't want you to be the commissioner
that's
of college
another
football.
story.
How about that?
I think that's I think Chip's suggestion is great. And one thing he's saying, and I know this isn't the scope of our conversation, but Rob, we talked about it. When Stanford's in the freaking ACC, as might happen, how are how's lacrosse and wrestling and heck, even basketball to some degree, but the games that are played on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, how are these kids going to travel from Stanford to North Carolina to play a soccer game? It's ridiculous. So he's saying keep the conferences regional as they are geographically, and then let the football programs play independent. Now, I couldn't care less if it's independent or if they build some major conferences for the, Power of 5 and the 64, if you want to limit it to that, or 75 or however many teams you think really realistically can compete for a national championship. Put them in 2, 3, 4 conferences with different divisions and have a legit playoff. And this is where I think it was some I won't say broken because I enjoyed it and everything. But Rob, we have had, it hasn't been as real in terms of determining the champion as other sports. But heck, up until recently, it was mythical. Who was mythical? Why? Can we settle it on the field? And then now we have the playoff, which is better, but it's still, you're hand-picking teams that don't play the same schedules, don't play each other. I get it. You do that with basketball, but you pick 68 teams. You're picking 4. I think if they go at independent schedules or, independent teams and play their schedules or different conferences, and then you just have a playoff setup like the NFL, where you qualify for the playoffs based on your record, and then we end up being crowned, having a real champion crown that settled it on the field. And I think the thing, right, I get the tradition you're talking about. You can make the playoff games the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, so on and so forth. And if you're independent scheduling, Michigan and Ohio State can still play. Georgia and LSU can still play. Like, you can make those games so you still have those regional rivalries.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think that some of the changes that have been made to college football already have destroyed it. We've seen a ton of lopsided postseason games, all kinds of stuff because they're expanding the field and putting teams that really don't belong in these mixes of like lopsided games that have hurt college football.
Well, we saw that when it was just 4. I mean, it's still just
it's
4,
worse now. I think it's worse. Like if you go look at the margin of the margin of victory, Chris, the last few years, I don't have it in front of me. We've talked about it a couple times. It's gotten worse because you're expanding the teams that just don't really can play with the big boys and aren't really a viable champion. So you can go ahead and do what you want as far as continuing to expand it and take away. I just think everything doesn't have to be changed. I'm not against changing some things and some things that have worked out, but to just destroy and tear down everything and make college football the NFL, that's what made it different. It doesn't have to be the NFL. I don't want college football to be the NFL. College football should be college football.
It's not going to be the NFL. I mean, you're still going to have those rivalries. It's just picking a real winner. Is the FCS? I always get them mixed up. FCS, SBS, Division I AA. Is that the NFL? They have a playoff, like a real playoff with 24 teams, I believe, make it. I mean, just every other sport at every other level has a playoff to pick a champion. They don't sit there and pick these 4, like everyone, including football at the different levels, Division III, Division II, Division I, NAIA. Why can't we do it at the Division I? Division I AA, I meant. We can do it at Division I.
Well, I'm going to give you a number. 19 of the last 27 playoff games have been blowouts.
So what?
10 points.
I mean, we got blowouts and everything.
No, but I'm telling you, it's because you keep expanding the field of people.
They have 4 teams. Okay. How's that expanding? They haven't expanded it yet.
They keep. This is what I'm saying. It's going to get even worse.
No, they'll be playoff games. We see blowouts in sports at all levels.
I just don't want. To me, leave college football to have it be unique and be its own thing. You don't have to be the NFL. Eventually, they're going to want to move it to Sunday too, right?
No.
Let's make it Sunday.
They won't compete, Rob.
Let's make it Sunday.
Let's be realistic. You think they really want to compete with the NFL? No.
I'm just saying.
It'll stay. They have their day. They stay on Saturdays. And I'm not trying to make it the NFL. When I say, an NFL format, I'm simply saying teams like conferences and divisions and teams qualify for the playoffs. It's as simple as that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's got to be the NFL, and it won't be the NFL. I mean, Rob, the NCAA tournament, we don't even know the players anymore. And I'm saying the casual friends, because they're all in the NBA at that age, the best ones. But people still tune in for the NCAA tournament. Certainly the first few rounds because of that tradition, even though it's much different than it was just 15 years ago. And certainly when you and I were growing up. People will still be into college football because it's great and it's on Saturdays. And you have the rivalries that you don't have to run away from those rivalries. So, I think what Chip Kelly's saying is actually fair to the other non-football athletes or non-revenue generating athletes. You just can't have them traipsing all over the country on a weeknight when they're supposed to be students.
I agree with that.
You know, it's and I agree with you, Rod. Deion Sanders said it. These dudes just after money. There's no doubt about it. They're saying this is how we make the most money. So don't dare get mad at the kids when they want to get their NIL. I know you're not. I'm just saying, don't get mad at the kids when they're making their NIL money. Because adults are throwing away. I mean, Rob, these decisions don't even make sense geographically.
They don't care. They just want the money. How can they make the most money? That's all they care about. Hey, if we stay here in the Big 12 or we go and we move over to that conference, we're going to make another $13 million. Oh, we're doing it. Okay, we don't care about anything. We don't care about the kids got to go play volleyball. UCLA going to play volleyball at Penn State on a Tuesday night. Yeah, okay. And you're supposed to be a college student? Yeah, right.
I hear you.